From VTV Channel 6 Studios in downtown Vernal, this is Local Point with your host, Chris Piner.
Welcome to Local Point, brought to you by Ashley Regional Medical Center. Many people in Vernal agree the scenery is vast in our neck of the woods, and we're not just talking about a couple of trees. We mean about 1.8 million acres of them, and that's a lot of country, which provides a lot to do during the winter. And on our show today, we have two officials from Ashley National Forest to tell us all about it. We welcome Louis J. Haynes, Public Affairs Officer, and Kim Bartel, Recreation Program Manager to Local Point. Good to have you both here.
Thank you.
1.8 million acres. For a guy like me, that's pretty hard to comprehend. How do I get this in my head? That sounds like a lot, but how much really is it?
It's a lot of real estate. I manage the Duchesne District, and that's 60 miles west of here, and that's at the base of Wolf Creek Pass when it comes over from the Wasatch Front. And from there, you'd come all the way to Vernal and go over the top of the summit, go all the way to Flaming Gorge National Recreation Area, and along the Utah-Wyoming border, and then that large landmass encompasses that 1.8 million acres.
Does it go outside of the Utah border?
Yeah, we do have 90,000 acres in Wyoming.
As well. That's a big forest. Comparably, is that a big forest? To me, that sounds large. Is that an average size U.S. forest or a big one?
That's pretty much it. It's about middle of the road.
Is that
We're
about what
a
they're
middle of the road
like?
forest.
I think for the state of Utah especially, I think it's about an average size forest.
That's a pretty substantial forest
Yeah.
in my estimation anyway.
And we break ours up into 3 different districts.
And you said you're over the Duchesne district.
Roosevelt Duchesne, so that's about from White Rocks Canyon all the way over towards Wolf Creek Pass. And then there's the Vernal district, which would be from the White Rocks back over to, I guess that would go almost to the summit on Highway 191. And then from that on over into the Flaming Gorge area is the Flaming Gorge National Recreation Area.
All right. Well, we've got a forest right here in our backyard, and it's wintertime, and people want to enjoy it. What can they do?
Well, I think, Chris, over in I think I'll start with the Flaming Gorge area. That is, from a scenery perspective, it's gorgeous with the Flaming Gorge over there.
Indeed.
And when I talked with Nell Highfill, who's she's the program manager on that side, she said one of the nicest things going on right now is if you want to get out of the inversion in Vernal, you drive 50 miles to the north, and she's been having temperatures up there. You're above it, and you're in this nice warm temperature. And she talks about the fishing. The ice still isn't froze, and they've been talking about how much the boaters are still going out on the lake, on the reservoir up there, and they're taking the boat ramps and they're pushing them out for access, and then they're bringing them back in. So it's a wonderful time to escape and try and get away from this inversion that we have in Vernal.
And I would not have imagined that. So that is interesting that you mentioned that.
It has surprised me as well. I forgot how warm it does get over there.
Yes.
We just have to remember, you just get over the top of this hill,
Right.
and we're just fine.
Yeah.
Another thing that she talked about and mentioned was the opportunities for cross-country skiing.
Okay.
There's Red Canyon Lodge and there's Flaming Gorge Lodge over there.
Yes.
So there's about 30 miles of cross-country skiing that you can do, as well as snowshoeing.
Do they have designated trails or
They
areas?
do. They do. And on the website, you can find the maps that will identify those, and you can also get a hold of Nell with those.
Throw out that website real quick. What is that?
The easiest way for folks to get there would be to go to like www.fs for Forest Service, .fed for federal, .us, and that'll take you right to our national website, and you can select the Ashley National Forest
and you
from
can
a
find
pull-down
it
menu.
from there. I didn't mean to put you on the spot,
okay.
but it's a good question as you mentioned the website. But it has some of these offerings.
And then from there you can go to recreational activities. That'll be located in the upper left-hand side of that website. And then from there you can pick it down, and you can, if you want to go camp, if you want to use the yurts, if you want to fish, you'll look at that first page and you'll find some features that you can check up on.
All right, all right. Now, is that specific for each of the districts? So there'll be things to do in the Duchesne district, things to do in the other two districts as well?
It's generally laid out as a forest, and then like if you want to look at camping, and then it'll break it down as to like where these campgrounds or campsites are located.
Okay. And anything else that you want to mention that might entice people to get out in the great outdoors and enjoy the forest?
On the Flaming Gorge again, I'll go back to the cross-country skiing, and they have the rentals for these things over at the different lodges. So if you just want to go over and travel and pick up the equipment over there,
so if you don't have your own snowshoes,
that's right,
you could rent them there.
Yep.
All right. What about things like like vehicles, like a snowmobile, or you do that kind of
Snowmobiling is a
thing?
great opportunity. There's about 150 miles of trails located on the Vernal District. And that's from, if you take 191 up to the Red Cloud Loop, which
Yeah.
is at the top of the switchbacks,
Right.
and then all the way back towards Dry Fork Canyon, you can pick up those 150 miles and you can start from either end and ride throughout that whole network. And on the travel map that the forest has, once there's 12 inches of snow, you can ride pretty much open in many areas.
Wow.
Now what I'd do is I would consult with the front desk at the supervisor's office, pull that map out, because there are some areas that are closed because of winter migration routes for wildlife and for
Okay.
deer and elk.
And they'll know all of that.
They
They
will.
can tell you ahead of time. Well, we could talk a little bit more about how people should prepare for the outdoors in just a moment. And I got to ask you what a yurt is. You mentioned yurts too, and that'll show you my ignorance. I have no idea what that is.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate that. There's no good reason for people to stay inside. They can, if you like the great outdoors, you can do it right here in the wintertime. We're going to talk a little bit more about that in just a moment, right after this word from our sponsor.
If this were a lump in your breast, it could be cancer, and you wouldn't be able to feel it from inside or out. But there's a new technology that can see cancerous lumps at their earliest, most curable stages. It's technology that's helping save women's lives. It's called digital mammography. It can find a tumor years before you can feel it. Call Ashley Regional Medical Center to learn more and to schedule your appointment.
Welcome back to Local Point, brought to you by Ashley Regional Medical Center. Last October, Utah did not have a single river designated as a wild or scenic river. And we're now going to talk with guests for just a second about how they're recommending a change to that. Lewis, I'll have you take care of that one.
Oh, great.
That surprises me.
Yeah, well, actually, you know, the 5 forests in Utah did a combined state planning effort over the last 18 months. And through that planning effort, they are recommending 10 river segments in an administrative decision to Congress for wild and scenic rivers in the state of Utah.
Now tell me just quickly what that means, because I wasn't really aware of the designation. What does it mean to be designated a wild and scenic river?
You bet. It's another level of protection that we afford to those river segments that we see as outstandingly remarkable for one benefit or another, be that wild, scenic, or recreational. Right. So we kind of look at those river segments, and through this planning process, we actually have 2 of them on the Ashley National Forest that are going to be recommended in this administrative decision.
That fit that description and ought to be. It seems like Utah ought to have wild and scenic rivers. I can't believe we didn't have any that were. This is a great recommendation. I wish you well with that.
Thank you.
When do we find out?
Well, actually,
there
our
an award
recommendation goes
presented?
to Congress. Our recommendation goes to Congress, and Congress makes that final decision
Right.
on which segments should be included. You know, and really the basis behind this planning effort was to find that balance between preserving those things that we see as outstandingly remarkable and planning for the future need for water development.
All right.
So that was the real balance here with this plan.
Well, we hope we ought to get it then.
You bet.
All right, well, we'll keep in there. Now, I asked at the beginning of the program about yurts. You mentioned that, and I have no idea what one is. What is a yurt?
Well, I think when you look back on like sheep herder days back over in, I can't remember the country, Romania, Bohemia,
The old
somewhere.
country.
The old country. It's a portable structure that they would haul out, and then they would unfold it. It would be like octagonal in shape. And we've done the same thing, except that, you know, ours are maybe like 16 and 20 feet in diameter, which is very similar. And it's you pull that thing out and you set it, and we set ours on permanent structures. And we have 3 of them. There's one on the old Carter Military Trail, which this time of year is used as a warming hut only for snowmobilers.
All right.
We have another one up at Grizzly Ridge. That one's located about 9,200 feet. And these can be rented through the reservation system. And I believe that website was that www.reservation?
It's recreation.gov.
Recreation.gov, thank
All
you.
right.
And then within those structures, you can rent those for $30 a night, and they'll sleep up to 8 people. They have double bunks, and they'll have a wood stove. They'll have a propane cooking stove that the Forest Service provides with the wood heat, with the wood, and then you're responsible to bring the canisters. They'll spin on canisters for a propane light.
And these
with
are
the
new, though.
mantles.
These are brand new?
They're relatively new. The Grizzly Ridge has been in place for several years. I cross-country skied to that one.
But there are a couple more now.
Well, there's one over at Limberflag. Limberflag is at 9,000 feet, about the same amenities.
Right.
You're responsible for some things, we are. And it's an outside restroom. There's no running water. Pretty simple, but a great place to go.
All right. Well, if you like the great outdoors, there's no reason to stay inside. You can enjoy the winter time, and we want to talk a lot more about safety. There's no time on this one. We'll just say to our viewers, be safe, dress warm, and take the proper precautions before you go out and then go out and enjoy it. Right? We thank you two for coming, and thanks for watching.